to this live session where we will be talking about figures of speech. We're live, and as soon as you join, please tell your friends, tell everyone around you that Communication in English with Salome Olajide is live. Figures of speech. I'm giving you a moment to join. Yes. Please join. Tell everyone around you. Okay. I need to be clear. Can you hear me? Can you all hear me? Can you all hear me? Okay, you can hear me clearly? Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. If somebody says, I'm dying of laughter, should we get an ambulance? Should we? If somebody says, I'm dying of laughter, should we get an ambulance? Why? I'd like the class to be very interactive, so I'm going to be reading out your comments. I'm dying of laughter. Why shouldn't we get an ambulance? Because he or she said they're dying. Yes, no, why? Tell me why. Yes, that is not literal. Today we want to look at what it means when we say literal and when we say figurative. Figures of speech are beautiful expressions, creative expressions, figurative expressions to say something in another way. So yes, you want to sound beautiful. You want to sound nice. So you are saying something that could have been said in a literal way, word for word, in a more packaged manner. Just sometimes you want to create an effect, right? But at other times, it's just a flow. It's just a natural flow with you. And I tell you, if you have figures of speech at your beck and call in your mind and on your lips, then there's something actually exceptional about you. So seize the moment today so that you can grow in that ability, in that capacity to use figures of speech meaningfully. All right, so I want us to start with a guess game. You know, I like when we are very interactive. All right, the bag weighs a ton. If I say the bag weighs a ton, what do I mean? I could have said it in a simpler way. Can you tell me the simplest way I could have said the bag weighs a ton? Yes? I'm looking out for your comments. The bag weighs a ton. How else could I have said that? How else could I have said that? I could have said, okay, that the bag is heavy. Okay, the bag is heavy. The bag weighs a ton. All right, so tell me if this is literal or figurative. When I say literal, I mean word for word, just straight meaning. Tell me, I'm going to read 3 sentences out. Tell me if it's literal or if it's figurative. Just type it in the chat, right? One says, Nigeria wept the day Mr. Ojukwu died. Nigeria wept the day Mr. Ojukwu died. Is it literal or figurative? Is it literal or figurative? Nigeria wept the day Mr. Ojukwu died. Figurative. Okay, second, she has a heart of stone. She has a heart of stone. Figurative or literal? Okay, figurative. All right. And the last one, the wind whispered my name. The wind whispered my name. Is that figurative? And do you like the expression? The wind whispered my name. And I responded. I said, oh, and the wind said, yes. Do you like the sound of it? Okay. Now, the first figure of speech we'll zoom into is personification. Can you type that in the chats? Personification. This means that you are giving life. When you give life, when you give human characteristics to non-living things, that is personification. All right? Yes, thank you, Dunayo Adeniyi. Thank you, Ibrahim Olamilekan, Oyelola Ife. All right, great. Personification is when you give life to inanimate objects, to non-living things. If I say, even the example I just gave, the wind whispered my name. Actually, the wind cannot whisper. The wind cannot talk. That attribute, that talking attribute, that whispering attribute belongs to human beings. But if I give it to non-living things, then that is the use of personification, right? So another example I would like to give, then I will ask you for your examples. Example. If sleep were to be a person, I'll give my example, but let me ask this question. If sleep were to be a person, what would sleep say to a student during exams? Not just a student, a serious student, because sleep can welcome many students if they're not serious, right? What would Mr. Sleep tell students during exams? Let me see your comments. Yes? What would Mr. Sleep tell serious students during exams? Leave me alone and focus for now. Badebo, you're right. You're right. Yes? Any more? Any more? Leave me alone and focus for now. That's a good one. Yes, more examples, more examples. I want us to go together. I want us to move together. Don't sleep. Go and read. You won't necessarily use that same sleep, right? You can just say, go and read, okay? I like the other part, Amal Sunday. Now, please, what's the topic? Figures of speech, Deborah. Figures of speech. I think the live title has it already. Work hard now and sleep later. Don't use sleep. Do you get it? Don't use that same literal word sleep. Don't visit me. Go and face your life. Any Sunday. Okay? 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 All right. How about you don't need me tonight? Come later. I'll wait for you at our usual spot later, but not today. Something like that, right? All right. So personification could I need examples from you now. Personification. Let me give one more example. The sun flogged everybody on planet Earth today. What does that mean? The sun, the heat from the sun was really high, right? Was really high today. Good. So can you give me other examples of figures of speech, of personification? Do you have examples? Giving life to inanimate objects, giving human attributes to inanimate objects. Okay? The messages are not coming in quickly. Is it network? Okay. The sun is on its way to Rome. Why Rome? We need to know why Rome. There's a vote in the animal kingdom today. Okay. What has that animal kingdom got to do with the heat? Okay. There's a vote in the animal kingdom today. Yes, what do you mean by that? It's not very clear. If there is a vote, what's going on? Is it that the animals are shouting and roaring, or they came together? What exactly is that? The wind whispered to me. Yes, Ayomide, that is a good example. The tree waved. You said waved. The tree waved her hands today. Yes, the sun is smiling at me. Okay. All right, beautiful. Let's move on to metonymy. 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 If I say, the White House issued a statement today, or Aso Rock Villa issued a statement today, does that mean that the Aso Rock Villa started talking and started issuing a statement? Did the building talk? Did the White House building talk? So a figure of speech that consists in naming of a person for an object is associated, that when you substitute a person's name with a symbol that is associated with that, then it is metonymy. Okay? Metonymy. For example, the White House issued a statement, or Aso Rock Villa has passed a new law, meaning the Nigerian presidency. We're talking about the head of state, right? Another example could be, the classroom decided it was over. The classroom, we actually mean the people in the classroom, not necessarily the building, not necessarily the class, the physical structure, right? Okay, let me see some comments coming in. The leaves are waving. Yeah, the tree is dancing. The tree is dancing. Perhaps the wind is blowing, and then the wind is moving from side to side, and we're saying we're using personification, right? Are we good? The rain knocked on my window. Good. Meaning it's splatting on your window. All right. The grief land of Africa. Ayeni Sunday. I didn't get that. But let's move on. You can rephrase that, okay? You can rephrase that and I'll attend to it. Synecdoche. Can you say synecdoche? Synecdoche is spelled SYNECDOCHE, synecdoche. It is a figure of speech where a part represents a whole. Sometimes some people mistake synecdoche for metonymy. So, for example, in your exams, you could have an example of synecdoche and you have options. Choose the figure of speech in the sentence above. And if you do not know the difference between metonymy and synecdoche, you might likely fail that question. Remind yourself of what we said metonymy is. Now, let's look at synecdoche, right? Let's look at synecdoche. It's as if you are playing a game with the parts. I want to talk to you, and okay. For example, I say we need more eyes on this project, or we need more eyes on your Spark videos. What do I mean? I mean we need more views, more people to watch the videos. So when I say more eyes, I'm referring to people, not just that the eyes should leave the body and then come watch how, right? So if I say all hands on deck, that's a very common That's a very common synecdoche. All hands on deck. We actually mean that we need everybody to focus and do the work. We need more people to do the work together. Yes, thank you, Amo, Sunday, Deborah, Adekoya. I see your sentences coming in, your examples coming in. All right, we are going to move on now to allusion. Now, I'm already giving you the definitions and I'm giving you the examples, right? In a fun way, yes, but I hope you're getting the point. Allusion. When I use an allusion, I'm actually assuming that you already know something, that you have the background information. For instance, if I say, it's like an inside joke, a joke that we tell that it's just the two of us that know, and other people will be wondering, what are they talking about? Yeah. So if you're using an allusion, it means that the person you're speaking to already has background information about that thing that is related to that concept you're sharing. For instance, if I say that guy is a Judas, you're telling me about something, I say, oh, just forget him, he's a Judas. What does that mean? Let me see your comments in the comment section. That guy is a Judas. He's a betrayer. Yes, okay. That's what he does. Yes. All right. So I think if you do not have information about the biblical stories of Judas Iscariot and how he betrayed, you might wonder, what exactly are they talking about? So if I say, my father was a Muhammad Ali, what do I mean? My father was a Muhammad Ali. What does that mean? Bad child. How? How? Is that what you know Muhammad Ali to be? Bad child? Azizat. Fighter. Thank you, Madibo. But Muhammad Ali was a wrestler. It was a wrestler. Yeah, right? He was a fighter. Okay. So we have biblical allusion, we have classical allusion, we have different types of allusion according to the concepts that are related. Yeah. So we move on to oxymoron. Please type oxymoron in the chats. And while you are here on the live session, please click the subscribe button if you haven't, and click the like, go to share it on your status, share it wherever so that your friends can also join you to learn today. All right. Oxymoron. Thank you, oxymoron. Oxymoron doesn't have anything to do with morons. Okay, just know that. When you put two opposite words side by side, then that is an oxymoron. Sweet pain. Can something be sweet and be painful at the same time? Sweet pain. That is an example of an oxymoron. Oh, that's such a joyful trouble. Trouble is not meant to be joyful. But if you're saying a joyful trouble, then perhaps we have a good reason to think that that was a troubling process. That was a stressful process, but it brought you joy. Sometimes for new students, the process of registration, during matriculation and all that, you can actually describe that as a joyful trouble. It's brought you joy, but it was stressful. Good. Oye Lola said, living dead. Good. A bitter truth. Beautiful. Yes. The movie is bittersweet. Beautiful. That's a good example of oxymoron. I told, there was loud silence in the room. Maybe somebody said something and everywhere just went quiet. But that kind of, that kind of silence that has weight, that kind of silence that it seems very piercing. When a pin drops, you can actually take it. You can hear it. There's tension in the atmosphere. Everyone's supposed to be quiet, but it looks like we can hear the thoughts of our hearts, of our minds. That's because that oxymoron has been put together to describe that situation. All right, we'll move on to antithesis. A wise fool. Yes, that's an example. Now let's move on to antithesis. A-N-T-I for anti, then thesis, T-H-E-S-I-S, antithesis. It is a balanced opposite. Can you say balanced opposite? Balanced opposite. All right? When you have two contradictory words side by side, that's an oxymoron, right? Now we want to look at antithesis. You have contrasting words, but now you don't have them side by side. You have the contrasting concepts in two different clauses. When you bring them together, you use a semicolon to separate them. For instance, to err is human, to forgive divine. To err is human is one sentence, can stand on its own. To forgive is divine, can stand on its own. So one sentence has erring, making mistakes, and the next one has forgiveness. That's the opposite. Do you understand? That's the opposite. So bringing them together, to err is human, to forgive is divine. You put them together, and then you have an example, a good example of antithesis. You understand? All right. Another example I'd like to give you is some want power, others want peace. You see power, then peace, together, although opposites. They come together to make one complete sentence. Humans propose. Can you complete it? Can you complete that antithesis? Humans propose, but remember, I can actually use that semicolon to replace a but let's leave the but out. Let's say humans propose, and what's the next part? Spare the rod, spoil the child. Deborah Adekoya, I love that example. Spare the rod, spoil the child. God, what's that? God disposes, yes. Humans propose, God disposes. Good. All right. We move on quickly now to paradox. Paradox. Somebody type paradox. Paradox. A paradox sounds confusing at first, but when you look at it closer, it makes sense. A paradox is a statement that appears contradictory or even confusing at first, but when you look at it, at a closer look, a closer consideration will bring meaning out of it. For instance, there's this paradox I have known since I was in secondary school. Anytime I think of a paradox, I always think of it. The child is the father of the man. I can't remember the literary text I got that from, but I have had that example in my head since. The child is the father of the man. What does that mean? The child is the father of the man. Yes. The child is father of the man. What does that mean to you? If you look at it if you have a closer look at the child is the father of the man, what meaning would that make to you? What meaning would that bring to you? Another example I'd like to give is the only constant thing in life is change. What does that mean? How can you say something is constant? And then you're bringing in the word change, constant change, and then it looks confusing. But when you look at it, it makes sense. What does that mean to you? Please type it in the chat. Okay, Omolola Agbola is saying, the child, okay, let me get that. At the end, it is still the child that will take care of the parents. The child is father of the man. Okay? The child is the man's future. Okay? Okay, I love that. I love these examples. The child is the one controlling his father. Control. Control. That word is a bit too assertive for that. It means the small child of the father now is a father of one man now. You didn't put that way, but I think you're saying that the boy was small before, and now he's a father, right? So you can have different expressions to explain that. All right, let's move on now to onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia. How the spelling of that word. The spelling of that word is a bit confusing for some people. So I always say onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia. So you want just go with the sound. Onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia. Yeah, right? Onomatopoeia. That's spelling. Okay, let's leave that. Let's come back to class. Onomatopoeia. Sound effects. Sound effects. Sound effects. Yes? This generation would have many examples of sound effects. You know, we have video editing these days, and you can just pick the sound effects that you want for different scenarios, for different tunes. So yes, you're going to know this very well. For instance, thank you. I already have examples. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. What would boom, boom represent? Deborah, please complete that. The buzz of a what? Complete that. The clap, my own example is a clap, clap of thunder. The clap, clap of thunder. So you give me your example. Banging, hissing, murmuring, the door creaked. Okay, good. Yes. Buzz of the bees. Good. So whatever it is that you bring as a sound is your onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia. Can you give me sound for rain? If I want to talk about the rain, what sound can I use? How can I express your onomatopoeia for rain? Yes, the car exploded. Okay, thank you, Deborah. The hiss of a snake. Okay, good. I want an onomatopoeia for rain. Zip up. What are you referring to when you say zip up? It doesn't address onomatopoeia. Maybe you typed it for something else before, right? The drizzle of the rain, okay? The drizzle of the rain. The tip tap tap of the rain on my ceiling, right? So that's an example. All right, we can actually go on with so many examples, but alas, time is not on our side. Time is not our friend. Or time is our friend. Let's make use of time well. However you put it, that's a figure of expression. That's a figurative expression as well. Let's look at next example we have here is euphemism. 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 E-U-P-H-E-mism. M-I-S-M. Euphemism. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Olawumi. Praise. Euphemism. It's a beautiful way to say something that doesn't sound so nice, to reduce the hammer effect. If I say the man died this morning, that sounds so harsh. But if I say the man kicked the bucket this morning, or the man passed on, that sounds better. But it's still the fact that the man has died, right? So that's a good way, not good way, yeah, just something light to portray something heavy. For example, if I want to say somebody was sacked, somebody was sacked from work, I shouldn't say that. How should I put it? How should I put it? Or if I want to say somebody, maybe a teenage girl got pregnant, I shouldn't put it that way. How should I express that with euphemism? She was put in the family way. Thank you, Omolola. That's it. That's the euphemism for the girl getting pregnant. Okay, yes. She was relieved of her work. That's for the firing. Good. Thank you, Omolola Agbola. Okay, okay. All right then. That's fine. That's fine. We move on now to irony. 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 Please type that in the chat. Irony. Irony. Good. Thank you. Olawumi, praise. I see people that are really responsive and I take note of those names, really. I take note of the names. Irony. Saying the opposite of something that you really mean. You are stuck in traffic and you're saying, this was such a good way to spend my time this morning. It wasn't a good way to spend your time. You are really pissed off. Okay? Or you're saying, or you are saying, or you're saying the girl is as fair as a cat tire. Who said that? The girl is as fair as a cat tire, meaning she's dark, right? Okay. If you want to live long, sleep on the highway. Ayomide Abiodun. That's harsh. If you want to live long, sleep on the highway. That's irony. And you know, our parents used to actually do this. You're coming and you are, maybe your mother sent you to get something from the kitchen and you brought it and you're asking her, maybe this bottle of water. Please, where do I put it? Put it on my head. Does she mean that you should actually put it on her head? If you try it, All right. Can you give me yes, so can you give me an example of, give me an ironic statement to depict power supply, power outage. Give me an ironic statement for power outage. Yes. Then we move on to hyperbole. Quickly. We gotta finish this. We're almost done. Yes. The man joined his ancestors. That's a beautiful way to also represent the man kicked the buckets. The man passed on. Yes. Thank you, Daramola Grace. Okay. Hyperbole is an over exaggeration beyond proportion. Exaggeration beyond proportion. The Nigeria power supply is as stable as the one in the UK. You are saying you are using literal expressions. That's literal. That's not figurative. Is as stable as the one in the UK. Okay, that's irony. Okay, that's irony. Although, okay, that's irony. Opposite. That's irony. Meaning is not stable. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to hyperbole. Not hyperbole. Not hyperbole. What's that? Hyperbole. Hyperbole. Over exaggeration. Exaggeration beyond proportion. If I say the whole town came to Boluwatife's wedding, do I actually mean that the whole town came? No, the whole town cannot attend somebody's wedding, no matter how much they love that person. We could only say that to mean that many people came, that the wedding was well attended. The wedding was well attended. Okay. Her tears could fill up a bucket. Good. Favor Austin. Her tears could fill up a bucket, meaning she really cried. The tears might not even fill a cup, but we could just have it to say she really cried. She really cried. I love it when my smart home becomes expensive, very dark. I didn't get that. Olawumi, praise. I can finish a bag of rice. Thank you, Gbadebo. That's a good example. I can clear a mountain of pounded jam. No, you can't. But it is it is hyperbole. Yeah? Boluwatifeke, she didn't invite me. Look at you. It's an example, my dear. Okay. I waited for her forever. No. Forever, you're still alive. No. Yeah. All right. The boy can finish a mountain of fufu. Good. Ideni do. I hope you don't like fufu too much. Okay. Will time permit us to look at litotes? There's another one, meiosis. Meiosis is an opposite of hyperbole. Opposite of hyperbole is meiosis. So meiosis is something that's supposed to be exaggerated to show the emphasis, but you are trying to bring it down so that people are not so disturbed. For instance, if you say, oh, I had a small accident this morning, the word accident alone can make somebody's heart fly off the handle. But if you say, we had a small accident, so using that word small would make the person feel a bit relaxed, even though they want to ask you about the details, but you have used small in that sentence to say it wasn't so bad. You good? Okay. All right. Or after failing an exam and you're saying it wasn't my best performance before you show the result or anything, so that the person will know, don't expect too much from this. Okay. So let's look at litotes. Not littles. It's spelled Litotes, but it's pronounced litotes. Are we good? Please spell litotes. Let me see in the chats. I want to be sure that you know how to spell it. Litotes. Good. Olawumi praise. Olawumi praise is my fastest student today. I like to see your face, okay? Litotes. Okay. So we have that. Litotes is an understatement. It's an understatement by using negation. When you hear negation, negativity, the word not, N-O-T. N-O-T. So when you have a sentence and you have not, check if it's an example of litotes. Litotes is affirming something by denying the opposite. For example, the test was not easy. That test that you had, the central test, it was not easy. Instead of you to just say it was very hard, it was very hard. That's what you actually want to say. But if you say it was not easy, you are using not with a positive word. That's litotes. The movie was not bad. You could have said the movie was good, right? But you're saying the movie was not bad. That is an example of litotes. Okay, we've looked at euphemism, we've looked at personification, we've looked at metonymy, synecdoche, we have looked at oxymoron. So let me give you a quick quiz before we go. Nigeria won gold. Nigeria won gold. What figure of speech is that? What figure of speech is that? Nigeria won gold. That's for number one. Number two, man proposes, God disposes. What figure of speech is that? Yes, number one. Waiting for your responses. Paradox. Nigeria won gold. Are you sure? The first one is metonymy. Who said that? Aminat Motunrayo. You are correct. And the next one is, what's the next one? What did I give you? To err is human, right? To forgive divine. Antithesis. If you're answering the one for number one, just put number one beside it so I know that that's what you're responding to. Somebody said paradox. No, number two is not paradox. Number two is not paradox. Somebody has already gotten it, so let me move on. Antithesis, you're correct, right? One more example before we go, and I'll give you something that I want you to write please take, this is your take-home assignment, and I want the assignment submitted under the YouTube comments, as a YouTube comment, right? You write it, don't write it now, when the video has been posted. Right now, when we finish, it's not going to be posted immediately. I'm going to have to go to the listing and make it public. When I have made it public and I have shared the link on the group, come back to type it so I can see what you have written and then give my comments on it, okay? All right. So what I want you to do is write a short paragraph using at least 5 figures of speech. Your paragraph could be on just anything, okay? Are we good? Are we good? Write a short paragraph. Use at least 5 figures of speech. If you understand, say yes, yes, yes in the chats. Yes? I want your yes, yes, yes in the chats. Yes, yes, yes. Awesome, awesome. All right. I said, give me a short paragraph using different figures of speech, at least 5. You can use more than 5, right? But at least 5 figures of speech. Figures of speech are not just decoration. They're decorative, yes. They're figurative, yes. But they are not just decoration. It is how language thinks, how language breathes, and how it brings beauty in our different conversations and in real life. Yes, you can be tested for figures of speech in your exam, but it's real life that you apply it. It's something that you need for life. Thank you so much for joining this live session with the Scent Educator on figures of speech, communication in English. Till we meet again next Friday. Next Friday is going to be strictly 8 to 8:30. All right? So see you then. And I'll be coming back to the comments to check for your submissions so I can give my comments. All right? Thank you for joining the session. Have a good rest of the day. Bye, everyone. You're most welcome. Come tell me thank you when the link has been shared so I can see the thank you in the comments, okay?